Scottish independence collapses and the British police continue to arrest people for walking. Hello everyone and welcome to today's programme. The Scottish independence over the last year or so, the opinion polls have been up and down, but the Yes campaign usually been leading at some point, almost reached 60%, but things are slowly changing. In this video, we're going to talk about the latest updates from the SNP scandal. But before we start the show, don't forget, if you want to help this channel and also stay up to date with all the videos, subscribe to the channel. It's free to do so, and just click on the subscribe button and then click on the bell and next to it click on all not personalized. That's the best way to stay up to date with everything that we do on this channel. Now let's go to the news that we received from Scotland, which is on the issue of the second Scottish referendum. As you know, they've already had one back in 2014, a few years ago. They said it's once in a lifetime vote. They lost the vote, and since then we've had Alex Salmond, Nicola Sturgeon and the rest of the SNP trying their best to find a way to introduce a second referendum, just like what they were trying to do with Brexit, to introduce a second referendum to change the vote. But now all the papers in Scotland have been reporting over the last 24 hours on how the chances of independence are actually going down. It's all thanks to Nicola Sturgeon and her performance recently as a First Minister. The latest poll, Survation, actually showed that the Yes campaign has gone down now to 43%. And the No campaign is now leading, 44%. When you exclude the undecideds, it's actually now 50-50 between yes and no. This is the first time that's actually happened in a long time. The trend started a few weeks ago and the yes campaign started going down, but now we're actually seeing the proper result. The Daily Record actually said that is the first time in 22 consecutive polls that the yes campaign has now had the lead. Support for independence has averaged about 54% in recent times, but now we are seeing that 44% have said that they would vote no if a referendum was held tomorrow. So this is completely changing the whole image of this saga that we've had with the SNP over the last year or so, with everything with public health, with post-Brexit Britain, everything else going on, the issues with schools, education, health and everything. They've completely made a mess, and their only focus has been to raise money to spread these leaflets across Scotland to reassure their members and their supporters that the independent Scotland is actually going to happen very soon. Well, that's clearly not actually as close as you think, because even Sunday Times, Alex Massey actually wrote an article about this whole situation, saying that it's because of Nicola Sturgeon and her leadership team, because they've been so bad with everything, especially with dealing with the Alex Salmond inquiry. And so it's saying that the Alex Salmond's evidence has Nicola Sturgeon on the ropes. Before we go to this article, because Alex Massey said some interesting things about Sturgeon's support for Sturgeon as leader as well, what we have is that the Liberal Democrat Alex Cole-Hamilton also said that a section of the ministerial code that Nicola Sturgeon is accused of breaching could not be clearer. If she has misled Parliament, then she will have to resign as First Minister. It's not a will she or won't she kind of deal. Now, as we said, the support for Sturgeon is also going down. Just 33% of those polled believe that Sturgeon should remain in post if the ministerial code had been broken. Now, 33% is quite huge that they say, I think about the opposite of it, because when you see a lot of the people who have been voting for the SNP, so it's not just the Labour voters or the Tory voters or the others, it's a big chunk of the Scottish voters who currently believe that she should actually go. So this is not really looking good, and not just for Sturgeon, but for the cause of Scottish independence. Now, Alex Massey, towards the end of the article, says that Alex Salmond's performance was a careful one. He heavily implied that Sturgeon would have to resign if it were concluded that she had knowingly misled Parliament, but he was careful not to actually call for her resignation directly, which is, it's quite cautious there, but because he doesn't want to actually lose the credibility. His performance was actually quite good, and a lot of people who were undecided watching the inquiry took his side, because he remained calm. He actually did his homework. He knew exactly what he was talking about, and now we're waiting for Nicola Sturgeon's team to react to what happened earlier in the week. So And this whole saga will continue. And the issue we have is that Nicola Sturgeon has a big platform. So she's using these daily press briefings, which again is supposed to be focusing on public health and the lockdown situation. But even the Scotsman actually reported saying that Nicola Sturgeon's daily briefings are now a farce that shamed BBC Scotland. And the fact that the mainstream media are still reporting it every single day, even though most of the time you don't really hear much apart from Nicola Sturgeon using it as a political tool to attack previously President Trump, the Brexit negotiations, and now in anything that happens in Westminster or anything that's basically not happening in Scotland, she uses that platform to express her opinion, and the mainstream media just shows it without actually scrutinizing the content of her words. So this is the whole problem, and now people are turning on against that. Again, these daily briefings will have to stop at some point eventually, so we don't really know what they're going to do. The whole of the establishment right now, when it comes to the mainstream media, they're not really reporting on this. They're not really focusing on important issues. And it's not just this. There are a lot of other things that's happening around the country that the media aren't reporting on. For example, we are going through a lockdown, but there are certain things that the British police are doing that's slightly out of order. You had Tom Harwood from Guido Fawkes going for a walk yesterday near Tower Bridge, and he saw that the police were just approaching people, finding people, arresting people for simply walking or sitting down for a second. He actually was there himself, and he filmed this clip. Let's go to this clip and then come back and report, comment on it.
Yeah, really good, thanks.
Yeah. What are you doing here?
Oh, I'm on a walk.
You're on a walk. Do you live local to
Yes,
me?
I do, yeah.
Yeah, whereabouts?
Well, I don't understand why. They're not going to ask. They're asking people, if they're living locally. Are they? Up to what point are they going to continue this? Are they going to ask for evidence, like proof of address? How far do you have to be? Can you walk for 1 mile or 2 miles? Because the issue we have is the next video that came out yesterday. Again, is of a couple of people who decided to go out for a walk, and they went to queue outside a shop that's actually open. It's to get coffee. The shops that are open now, they are legally allowed to be open. So the police say, it's fine. You can go out. You can get your coffee, if you're doing your daily walk. But now they're actually going around arresting people. So this is the video we have from one of the citizens in London.
She wants it. It's not a crime to stand in a street. I'm social distancing when I go in the shop. She has a mask. Yeah. Right, I live in London. 2 miles away. Right, I live in London.
Explained to you it's not reasonable to come from Battersea.
It's 2 miles away. It's this side of the road.
It's not reasonable. It's not reasonable.
It is reasonable. It's completely reasonable.
It is reasonable.
It will treat everybody the same, but you should be treating them.
Everyone, if you don't live in the area, you're not allowed to be here. It's against the law. I've come from Battersea, 2 miles away, and they're saying we can't be here. This is the state of the law. And this
So this is the state of our city right now in London. This is happening across the country. The issue we have is that apparently 2 miles is too much. So it depends where you are. If you live in a small village and you're going between towns, fine. The police could say that you have to stay in your area, I guess. But London is a big place, and sometimes if you want to go to your somewhere to get something like coffee or supermarket, you have to walk for a while because apparently you can't do anything else. So 2 miles is too far. So you're not allowed to walk. So these people were actually stopped by the police. 4 police officers to approach 1 or 2 people. So it's actually getting embarrassing. And again, it's supposed to be the job of the media to expose these events, because every now and then these things get exposed on social media and the police come out, apologize, make a U-turn. But it shouldn't be the job of the social media platforms and people on Twitter to do it. It should be the BBC journalists, the Sky News journalists and others to actually do this. But they're not doing it. It's our job on this channel to do it. Now, finally, in today's segment of News in Your World, we have a latest story from one of our subscribers and a patriotic member of our society, Anthony Harrison, who is part of our armed forces. And in 2013, he decided to start a campaign to build a memorial for one of his friends, Lance Corporal Jamie Webb, who lost his life in a conflict in Afghanistan. And he was successful. It took him a couple of years to actually raise funding, built this memorial. He even had the former Chancellor George Osborne visiting it. So that went quite well, and he started doing more of these. He actually started to do campaigns to build memorials and other things for the D-Day and everything else that's been happening, all the anniversary dates, important dates throughout history. Recently, he's also been part of the new foundation, the George Mallory Foundation, that's there to celebrate the legacy of one of this country's greatest explorers, George Mallory. The idea is behind this is that, again, to make sure that we are celebrating the great people in our British history. So we have with memorials, landmarks and everything else. At the time when people on the left and people like Sadiq Khan are trying to bring down statues and memorials, there are people like Anthony Harrison and others who are starting campaigns to build more. So this is actually a great cause that is started. Apparently the project is still ongoing. They're still raising funds. Actually, I'm going to put the link of the website in the description. Just go check it out. There's also a section for donations as well if you want to be part of that. So thank you so much, Anthony, for sending us your story and your campaign, and best of luck to you and all the patriotic members that we have. And if you guys also want to have a chance to be featured, if you have anything that you want to share with us, anything good in your life, any shout outs, feel free to send it to us to lacey@mytc.co.uk. And as usual, attach any photos or videos related to the story as well, and we'll try our best to show it on the channel. Thanks again for watching. I'm MyTC, and I'll see you guys in the next video.